Hey, what's up, guys? Coolers here, and today I'm going to be playing on Overflow with an MP7 with the Advanced Warfare camo. I believe my knife is a cyborg. What does that really matter? Because I don't use it anyway. And now, the reason why I've chose this gameplay for this map is because, one, I don't have Overflow maps. Two, I don't like Overflow. And three, this is probably like fucking the fourth nuclear ever dropped in this map, because this map sucks, in my opinion. I hate the spawns. Now, in this video, I'm using an MP7. I'm slowly using this to replace my MSMC, but let's get right into the commentary topic today. I'm going to tell a quick story about a camp I went to back in, I believe it was something the second grade all the way to seventh grade, I would just guess and say. Anyway, I went to a camp called Camp Raise. It was a city camp here in New York, and if anyone is going to a city camp, they'll understand what I'm about to say. City camp is usually just a cheap camp that parents send their kids to just so that they can get out the house and just fucking meet other people. And city camp is technically pretty cheap, so you can understand the type of people that go there. And the people that went to city camp, let's just say it like this: they were poor and they were ghetto. I have nothing against poor people, but they were ghetto as fuck. Like, everyone was like a thug. Like, these kids were like gangsters in like the third grade. Like, kids were like smoking weed in the bathroom in like the fourth grade, and it was just straight ghetto. And my counselors weren't no better. Like, there was days where the counselors would say that they were going to use the bathroom, and they would both go in together, a man and a woman, and they would just come out and they'd both be sweating, and like their hair would be messed up, and sometimes the guy would come out with no shirt, and it was pretty obvious what they did in there. They were just getting jiggy in the bathroom. And some other stories that happened in city camp, besides the fact that counselors were shacking up inside the bathroom, which was absolutely fucking funny if you ask me, was the shit we would do in city camp. Well, in city camp we had absolutely no type of air conditioning. Like, one day it was 118 degrees out, and the counselors, they sent us outside to like run races, and everyone was like passing out from heat stroke, and counselors were like wondering like what was going on, and they were so surprised that kids are like having heat stroke. And then during these races, we were running, and we were running like for 100 meters or 100 yards. I don't remember the exact distance and back. And my boy Anthony was just running, and then we heard a gunshot or something, which wasn't uncommon in this area. So everyone just looked and wasn't even really that scared. So everyone just looked in the other direction, into the woods. And everyone turns around, and Caitlin, the girl who was running the race, ended up getting back. And we turn and we see Anthony's gone. And everyone's like, where the fuck did Anthony go? So the counselors just walk around the field to look for Anthony, and they find him just laying in this hole, like standing up in this hole. Anthony was like 6 foot in like the seventh grade or sixth grade, whatever it was, and they found him laying in this hole, like standing up, and they couldn't even see him. Now, what ended up happening here was, throughout the field that we were running, there was holes in the field, like craters. Like, when I mean craters, like there was like, it looked like a meteor hit the ground into these holes, and that's what ended up happening. And they found him laying in there, just like stuck, and he was just gone. It was the funniest thing I ever seen in my life. And the other thing about city camp was when we used to play dodgeball. That was like one of like the safest things we ever did in city camp, was dodgeball, believe it or not. And we were playing dodgeball, and we would use softballs to play dodgeball. In like the fucking fourth grade, we were throwing like softballs at each other's heads and shit like that. And there was one day when we were playing kickball outside. Our kickball had like a hole in it, so once you kicked it, it would run out of air, and the person had to catch it, and then between that, they'd put air in it. It was really fucking ghetto. You had to see the air pump too. The air pump required like someone to keep their finger in the hose so the air didn't escape. Anyway, we were playing kickball one day, and the ball went into the bushes, and I went to go get the ball, but I saw bees, and I told the counselor, I'm not going to get the ball, there's bees. And then he said, just go get it, you'll be all right. So I ran in there fast, and I grabbed it, and I got stung. This was the first time I ever got stung by a bee. I got stung by like 6 bees in my hand, and because I was in like the 5th or 4th grade, I started to cry. And the counselor, who was, I believe, 20 years old, told me stop being a pussy and stop crying. Meanwhile, I'm in like the 4th or 5th grade, and I just got stung by a bee for the first time. And it was like 6 bees or 4 bees that stung me, something crazy like that. And that was another day in city camp. Another funny day that happened in city camp was the day that we would have lunches. This was every day. So the camp would supply us with free lunch, because I refused to bring my own lunch, because the food crate that we would put our food in to go in the refrigerator had like roaches the size of like people running out of there. So basically, Obey Kid Omar was hanging out inside these milk crates, and the roaches were just like chilling in there. Like, the whole NVBO squad was just chilling in there, roaches and bugs, same old shit. And I just bring my own lunch, and we would eat lunch there, and they would give us milk. And one day I opened up my milk with my boy, and like my milk looked like ice cream. Like, it just like when I went to pour it out, it just came out in like a blob of jello and was like rotten. And then the lunches they would give us was like a rotten cheese on like a piece of bread. I don't know how this camp stayed open and how the insurance was for this place, but it was horrible. And city camp, dude, like kids were like getting like lacerated by like metal in like the walls and shit, and it was just ridiculous. I went there for like 10 years or whatever it was, but to be honest, it sounds like a fucking death trap. It was a death trap, but it was probably like the best summers of my life being in city camp. Even though every day was a struggle to survive, I love city camp, and this has been cool, dude, and I hope you enjoyed my story, and I hope you enjoyed the video.